Welcome to ICSE. In this session of Part 3, I will discuss the marking of the 4 types of soils on the outline map. The marking is done based on the distribution of each soil that you learnt in the lesson Soil Resources. It is the area where the soil is mostly concentrated that is marked usually. But students need to be alert. You have to learn to mark according to the question. So, learn with reference to the maps given in the chapter of Soil Resources. An idea of the location is enough. The exact shape in which the soil is found in that area is not expected. First, let's mark the alluvial soil. Usually we mark it in the plains of Ganga, where we find this soil in abundance. The examiner has to be convinced that you know where each soil is found. So, give a rough idea like this. At the confluence of the right and left bank rivers with the Ganga. Now, this is mostly inland alluvium. I hope that you remember the different types. We know that there are other regions where we find alluvial soil. For example, deltaic alluvium is found in the delta regions where the rivers drain into the sea. There is coastal alluvium along the coast. So, students should be wise enough to understand where the marking has to be done with reference to the question. If it is alluvial soil in the south, you won't mark the Gangetic plain but the eastern coastal plain from Mahanadi to Kaveri. Something to note here is that the shading and labeling should be done neatly. You can use different shading patterns to represent the different types of soil or even the first alphabet of each soil for easy identification. But keep in mind that if there are many shadings, specify the categories clearly in the legend of the map. The second soil that we will shade and label is the black soil, which we find mostly in the Deccan lava tract, which is a major portion of Maharashtra. So, we can mark it over here between the rivers Narmada and Krishna. Then you shade and label it. The next one is the red soil, which we see mostly in large parts of the south, southeast and eastern regions. So, if you are asked to shade and label a region with red soil, you may mark the area where the soil is mostly concentrated. Now here, we can shade the region between the rivers Mahanadi and Godavari. In the eastern end, it can be the region to the left of the Brahmaputra. So, according to the question, we need to shade the relevant region with reference to the distribution table. You might even be asked to shade the region with soil formed by weathering of crystalline and metamorphic rocks. Which one is it? Lastly, we will mark the laterite soil, which is mainly found on the summits of the western and eastern Ghats. As the summits or top portions are narrow, we mark the soil in thin strips or even small patches. Both ways can be used. If you are asked to shade a region with laterite soil on the eastern side, You can mark it on the Eastern Ghats or like this, a small patch. Always remember that laterite soil is mostly found in regions of high temperature and heavy rainfall, which leads to leaching. So, a region in the east can be marked on the Garo, Kashi and Jaintia hills, which receives maximum rainfall during the monsoons. A few tips. I suggest that you use the ordinary pencil for your map work rather than different colors so that you can easily erase your mistakes and redo it without spoiling the map sheet. If you are using color pencils, make sure that you mark it right in the beginning itself. Do not use a pen to do the map work. Do not press too much with a pointed pencil tip while shading or marking, as it can tear the paper. I will give you more tips as we move along. For now, I only wish to stress on what I had mentioned in the previous session. Practice makes perfect. Just a few minutes of map work each day will be sufficient to score the 10 marks in this section. Bye.